All right, we're just approaching 5 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And as more people start to join us, that is fine. This video is going to be posted on our counseling blog and on our website, I believe. So we're going to have that information for you guys should you miss anything in the presentation or have any questions. I will just go through this presentation and then do questions at the end because with one screen, it's a little bit hard to see the chat and answer accurately. So this is, again, for college athletics. So if anyone is interested in doing sports in college, it's for NCAA and it's the eligibility focus. So like I said, it's for college athletics. So playing sports in college, there's a couple things. So varsity sports. So college, this is college representative. They compete against other college teams. Programs receive some type of funding and therefore these types of schools may offer scholarships. So money if you're playing a sport for them. These are typically governed by sports associations like NCAA. They have a National Junior College Association as well, and then the NAIA. We'll go over more about, obviously NCAA and different divisions throughout this presentation. But this plan takes a lot of preparation. So keep in mind that throughout the presentation, there are things you're going to need to do in high school while preparing to do a college level sport. It also takes commitment, drive, focus in all areas. So it's not just academics, it's not just athletics, it's all of it. All of that and extracurriculars that you will need because we go to college so that we can get an education and ultimately get the career we want. And playing sports is also a part of that if you're interested in doing that. So there are a few links in the presentation, like the student athlete to-do list, and the student athlete responsibilities. So like I said, this presentation will be available to you guys and you'll be able to kind of click through those links. Now for clubs and other sports, that's alternative participation option. That's not a varsity sport or NCAA type of association. They compete against each other in clubs and on these teams, but there's typically no outside funding source. So these could be like student run type of sportings. They may have travel, they may have different championships for clubs. And then the intramural would be teams from the same school that play each other. So that's kind of an introduction to it all. Now with the NCAA, since this is mainly an NCAA type of presentation, there's 3 different levels. So there's Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3. Division 1 is the biggest and most competitive. So they offer scholarships. Some of them are full ride scholarships if you're doing that sport, and they recruit their student athletes. So on the side, there's also a little table which you guys can look at while I'm kind of going over this. It probably needs to be updated a little bit because I did find some stuff on the site that was not completely up to date with this school year. So this is just on average type of numbers. But that's Division 1. So Division 2, athletic programs are smaller and less competitive than those in Division 1. And most student athletes don't get the full ride scholarship that they may have in Division 1. So you do get some financial aid for playing, you just don't always get that full ride. Division 3 programs are the least competitive, and Division 3 colleges do not offer sports-related financial aid. However, they may recruit athletes, they may have some sort of aid to give you. And being at one of these schools can help you get into a college, and they can also help you with balancing your college work and doing a sport. More about the divisions and considering each division. So for Division 1, there's a lot of scholarship opportunities, like I had mentioned before, but not every student that makes it into a D1 team will get that scholarship. Most competitive experience is in Division 1. However, it it's not always that you get that play time in Division I as well. So keep that in mind. This is a higher chance pathway to future professional level of play, but it also has the most travel and the furthest travel. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about, you still do have to do like academics, you still have to go to your classes, you still have to do all of the work that comes with being in college and getting that degree. So the travel might be an issue, so just keep that in mind. This can also mean that different majors may not be available to you. So definitely check current rosters. So there's different, if you were to look up a school and basically look at, say, UC Berkeley's basketball roster, you can kind of see which athlete majors in what. And you can kind of tell, are most athletes business majors, are less athletes agriculture majors? I don't know, that's just an example, but you're able to see what their major choices are and kind of base if a major is going to be achievable or not, because some of them might not be available. This also means that you get the most exposure though. So you're traveling, you have the furthest travel. This is for future professional play. So the sports are typically televised. So that's something that's kind of cool. Most likely the least amount of actual time spent playing. So like I had said before, so especially in your freshman and sophomore years of college, at a D1 school, you're probably going to get a low amount of play time, especially in those lower grades there. So Division II and Division III, some scholarship opportunities are in Division II. You potentially have more playtime earlier on. Like I had mentioned, for Division III, you often have more time and balance. You have more freedom with major choices because you do have more time. So you're able to do those different majors and able to complete the different courses and different work that you need to do for those majors, and less far distance travel. So these are some of the NCAA sports. So if you don't see the sport that you play on this list, your sport may be governed by NAIA or maybe another association, because these are going to be what the NCAA sports are. So you can kind of see the different seasons, the fall, winter, spring, and emerging sports that are going to be coming in NCAA. The M's and the W's are men's and women's. So you can take a look at that. That's also on the NCAA website though. So if you have any questions about that, you can also find that on their website. So a self-assessment, this is kind of for our students to think about to form realistic goals. So our coaches will help you with forming these goals and having plans for playing at college level. And this is kind of just the breakdown that is shown to students. So approximately 1 million high school students play football each year. 300,000 of those play their senior year. 71,000 of those, I think that's a typo, so just ignore that. Of those become NCAA student athletes, and then 20,000 receive freshman roster positions, and then 15,000 of those become senior student athletes, and then 255 student athletes are drafted. So you can kind of see from that, and this is approximate numbers, so definitely this isn't anything that's super concrete. It's just showing that there's 1 million plus high school students that play football each year, and then estimated 255 are drafted. So it's definitely something to kind of form a realistic goal off of, and think of your goals and plans and seeing what you want to do, and is it worth it, or are you just going to play a different sport? Are you going to focus on academics, and think of what your plan is going to be. So recruiting services, so this is more about athletic marketing and what you would need to do. So there's a lot of different marketing agencies that will help you market yourself so that you can get recruited. NCSA is one of them, and it's not always that you need these services, because sometimes these services cost money. So NCSA does cost money. And some athletes choose to use it to help them with the marketing. However, it can be helpful, but it's not completely necessary. So marketing is also very important, but keep in mind that you can do it yourself as well. So students are trying to basically convince schools that they're the athlete that the school needs. So that's all a part of marketing. We have our athlete to-do list that's basically a list of all the marketing that an athlete and their family would do instead of paying for these services. So there's some things on there that I advise that you guys look at in terms of marketing yourself and recruiting, because it's not always that these paid services would do a better job than you would do. So that's definitely something to look at. So keep in mind that athlete to-do list. It will help you out with things that will help you with marketing yourself. Academic eligibility. So this is where it gets kind of funky. So basically, Division I and Division II have different courses that you need. Division III, you don't need to worry about these requirements. It's mainly for Division I and Division II. So essentially they're almost the same. They're just divvied up a little bit different. So you have to complete 16 NCAA core courses and 10 by the end of your junior year. Typically that's not hard for people to do to get to that 10. However, it might be tricky to make sure that you're taking all of the courses that you need. So for Division I, the breakdown would be you need 4 years of English, you need 3 years of math, 2 years of science, 2 years of social science, and then you need an additional year of either English, math, or science. That additional year has to be from one of those core courses, the English, math, or science. Now, the additional core courses you need 4 years of. What that means is that you need 4 different full classes. So that can be of English, math, science, social science, that can be world language. Other courses that we have that are NCAA eligible can be used in that section. So that's where it gets a little bit confusing, is because we really have to see, that's why we want you guys to let us know if you want to be NCAA eligible, because that's where we need to see, okay, did they do 3 years of math? That's not something that's technically required for high school graduation. Obviously, you need those 3 years for A to G requirements. So typically you have done those 3 years or you're on track to do that. But it's also additional core courses, an additional year of English, math, or science. So those are some things that the counselor, one of us will check out for you if you're interested in NCAA. Now for GPA, you need a 2.3 or higher. And then passing credit grades are awarded C+ value if it helps. So if it doesn't help, they've come out with new rules regarding COVID and things like that. So definitely, like I said, check with your counselor to see if there's any rules that, apply to you that you need to find out about. Division II, like I said, is a little bit different. So instead of the 4 years of English, you need 3 years. Instead of the 3 years of math, you need 2 years. Science is still 2 years, social science 2 years, and then you need additional years. So 3 combined of English, math, and science. Then you need additional core courses, 4 years, so same as that Division I standard. The core course GPA is a 2.2 for Division II. And with all of that being said, I will go over in the next couple slides that, again, please tell your counselor if you want to be NCAA eligible, because we do fill out a spreadsheet for you guys that can really help tell, did this student complete all of these classes and what is their GPA for NCAA? So that's super helpful as well. Now, with that being said, approved NCAA courses at Mountain House High School, not all of our courses are NCAA approved. So we work to get a lot of our courses NCAA approved, but unfortunately, some of them don't get approved. So it's essential that if you plan to play college level sports, that you meet with your counselor so that we can make sure that you have all of those courses. If you were to go to our website and then go to our course list kind of looks like this picture here. So it has the courses and the course titles, the grades and everything like that. Now, before you get to whether it's a pathway or not, you can see the NCAA slot right there. And some of them are not approved. So some of this has been changed and updated, but just for purposes of checking the list for NCAA approval, that's where you would check it in our courses for this year. If there's any NCAA website updates, there's also the link to that up here. Typically, if there is some sort of update, it will pop up right as you go onto their eligibility page so that you can see that update. The CEEB code is something that you will need for the NCAA site, so keep an eye on that. It's also on our school profile on our website as well. NonCore courses. So just to give you an example or a kind of idea of what NonCore courses would be, they would be any courses taught in non-core areas. So that's like your fine arts, your music, your physical education, any courses that focus on preparing for work life. So personal finance, things like that, courses taught below grade level or at a slower pace with less rigor. Or maybe they're not considered to be college prep. They're kind of like non-academic courses, credit by exam courses, things like that. Some online work can be a non-core course, but a lot of our online work, as long as it's like our core courses, is approved by NCAA. So again, it's very important to talk to your counselor, make sure that you're taking what you need to be taking, because it can get a little sticky with all of these courses. Now, this is a helpful timeline for 9th through 12th grade to plan for doing NCAA. So in 9th grade, obviously, we want you guys to review everything in the College Bound Athlete Guide. This is also linked on our website. And also, if you were to Google NCAA Eligibility Center, it would be on there. You need to earn the best grades possible to get that GPA where it needs to be. You need to review the courses that are approved by NCAA. Tell your counselor you want to participate in NCAA. Start thinking about college, sport, division. Typically, students already know the sport, but definitely start thinking about college, what college you want to go to, what division is that college, so that we can get started on a plan for you. And then think about registering for a free account to get more information. So I think this is really important. That free account gives a lot of information for students if they're confused about what NCAA entails, what different divisions entail. Maybe for some reason you can't get a hold of this presentation. That free account will give you every single thing that you need, including contact information direct to NCAA. And then if you are planning on Division 1 or 2, you can always upgrade that account from that free account to the registration paid account. Now for 10th grade, you need to just make sure you've registered with NCAA, whether that's the free account or the paid account. Make sure to let your counselor know. Like I said, we have a spreadsheet, we calculate GPA, things like that. If we find out after 10th grade, it may be harder for you to get the core courses that you need for that requirement. If you fall off track, check back in with your counselor. And then 11th grade, confirm with your counselor that you're on track. At the end of the year, if you need to do the SAT or ACT, you can send your scores, but NCAA has removed the testing requirement for most. You may need to just check specific schools, because typically we focus on the UC CSU system. You need to get into those schools. If there's a private school or something like that, you might want to see if it is even NCAA, and also see if they're requiring testing, because NCAA is different from admission to the college. You have to get accepted into the college and also meet NCAA eligibility standards. Now, 12th grade, again, if you need SAT or ACT, find that out and then take it again if you need it. It's not always needed. complete required coursework. So if there's stuff that you still need to complete, go ahead and complete that. Requesting final amateurism certificate. So that's starting April 1st usually for fall. You do that through your NCAA account. Your NCAA account, so long that you have registered for that right account, they will remind you of that and let you know what you need to do for that. Then you request a final transcript at the end of senior year to be uploaded to the NCAA portal. We upload them for students that are registered for NCAA. So that is just something that will get forwarded to us. But definitely check if you need that and make sure that you're hitting all of these steps and keep in communication with your counselor as well. So we're finishing up some of the slides. If you want to compete NCAA sports, you need to register with the Eligibility Center. So plan on doing this before during freshman year. That's when it's most helpful because there's 3 different accounts. And like I said, you can always start with the free profile page and then transition to the certification account. But basically the accounts are, you can either get the free profile page, and that's good if you're still deciding on what you want to do. Maybe you don't know much about NCAA or what college you want to go to. That would be a good option. Option 2 is amateurism only. So this is good if you're an international college-bound student and you're planning to compete at Division III level, or maybe 2 4-year college transfers who plan on enrolling for the first time at a Division I or II. This account is $70. So keep an eye on what account you're definitely getting into. But the most common one is option 3, which is the academic and amateurism certification account. So this is the most common one if you're planning on Division I and II. Obviously, it's higher in price because they're trying to get the most money. It's the most common one and the most expensive one. So if you're planning Division I or Division II, if you're planning on taking an official visit or planning to sign a national letter of intent, you're probably going to be doing that option 3. All right, so virtual college night handout. So on this presentation, there's some neat handouts. Like I said, this will be posted on our website for you guys, where you can click all of the links that you need from this presentation. Some of the handouts are the NCAA Division I worksheet that we fill out, and this is just a copy with the included transcript, so you can kind of see how it works. The student athlete to-do list, really important. So this includes a full breakdown of all the steps that you would need. There's an athlete-centered resume if you need to send it to any schools to get recruited. And there's also NCAA student and counselor responsibilities you can take a look at. And some more resources. Like I said, the guide for the college-bound students is on the eligibility website, and it's really, really helpful. So I would definitely check that out. It goes over a lot of things for eligibility for NCAA. And then we have the approved courses at our school with the CEEB code that you will need for NCAA. And then the registration link as well, but you can also find that on the website. Right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen to see if we have any questions. Let's see. So one of the questions, if we opened a free account, so the option 1, can it be converted to option 3 later on? And by when should option 3 be opened? So yes, it can be converted to option 3 later on. You basically just go on the site and convert it. If you need extra help with that, you can either email your student's counselor, or you can contact NCAA. They may know a little bit more about the logistics of their site. However, we will help the best that we can. I would open option 3 as soon as you know exactly what you want to do. The sooner the better. And then what are the next steps after registering with NCAA? So if you have registered for NCAA, just make sure that you've talked with your counselor. If you've talked to your counselor, then you're pretty much on track. Once you talk with your counselor, like I said, we'll fill out that spreadsheet with your core courses. We'll make sure that we have you on track with those courses, and then we'll pop out your GPA for you. That will be helpful when applying and having your account. But from then, you just kind of do the NCAA from there. We're here to help you make sure that you have the courses you need. But through NCAA, you do everything else on their site and they will send you stuff. For college visits, do you have to contact the coaches from that school? Yes, so definitely contact the coaches or if they have any directors of sports, athletic directors at certain schools, make sure you're contacting them, and that's how you're going to be able to get that visit. They will coordinate with you guys to, coordinate days, times, and things like that. A lot of colleges have certain days for visits too. So definitely contact the specific college for that. Do you have the number of players who had gone to D1, 2, and 3 from MHHS in the last few years? I actually don't have that number on the top of my head. I can look into getting it. However, I don't have it on the top of my head. Any other questions or anything? Another question. So if the athlete starts, sorry about that. If the athlete starts interacting coaches end of junior year, is it too late? I don't think that it's necessarily too late to start interacting with coaches at the end of your junior year. However, it is advised that you do so as soon as possible, like in the presentation. So if you're interested in doing NCAA, that's something that we hope you guys know by freshman, sophomore year, because what happens is you have to get your account, you have to go through all of the things on that account, make sure that you're hitting all of your marks, make sure you have all of your courses and everything like that. And then in the meantime, the sooner the better for recruiting, because if you want to go to one of these college and be a starting player, if you want to go to one of these college and possibly play at all, you're definitely wanting to talk to the coaches and then let them see you play. Another thing is money, right? So if you're going to some of these schools, you want to make sure that they see you as soon as possible because money is involved. So you obviously want to get as much scholarship money that you can. And if people aren't seeing you play, then they're probably not going to give you money for doing their sport. So it's a lot about money and a lot about just marketing yourself so that you're able to go to that school, play that sport, make that team. So I don't know if that's necessarily too late. I would just say that the sooner the better, because at that point you only have senior year left, and hopefully by senior year, they're already having their eyes on you and wanting you to sign. And also, like I said before, if you're still kind of considering things and maybe you're not sure exactly what you want to do, get that free account because free is free. So that account will give you so much information. We obviously help with the core courses and GPA and making sure that you're being eligible for these things. But NCAA is going to be the ones that they will guide you to do certain things within their system and give you those reminders and let you know, remind you when you need to do your amateurism and things like that. Even if you decide to do the free account and then you're kind of like, yeah, I actually don't want to do NCAA. After looking through everything, that's totally fine too. It's just a nice thing to kind of help make decisions on it. Any other questions at all? Does playing sports add extra attention to get admitted in colleges if player is not planning to play in colleges? If you're going to, so let me see. I don't know if I understand this correctly, but if you're wanting to play a sport in college through NCAA, you're going to play the sport in college. So if you're not planning to play the sport in college, then you're not going to be adding that you're planning to play the sport at that college, if that makes sense. Now, if you're doing like club sports or anything like that that's not within a school, those could be added as extracurriculars. You can use those in essays if they are needed for that, if it makes sense to use that in an essay if it's relevant. But in terms of NCAA, if you plan on doing, say, cross country at a college, that's just your plan in doing that. You wouldn't say that you plan on doing that if you don't plan on doing that, if that makes sense. We have a couple more minutes left on here, so I'll see if any more questions pop up. Okay, so basically in general, does playing sports in a school get any advantage in college admission? A lot of that's up to the admissions counselors. So we obviously, like, it's nice to say like, okay, the student has A, B, and C as different extracurriculars. Definitely show who you are as a person, show that you're a well-rounded student and you're doing sports and you're able to balance your academics as well. That's definitely something that can't hurt you. But in terms of getting an advantage, that's something that I would probably call individual colleges and speak to their admissions about and kind of ask them, because I don't know if I can speak to it giving an advantage or not. That I'm not really sure about. It's all up to their admissions panel that they have. I don't think it could hurt you at all. So is NCAA eligibility only for us nationals, and does visa status matter? So I believe the international students would do option 2 if they're thinking about NCAA. So it's just a matter of what account you get. In terms of visa status, I don't know if there's anything that is asked on registration about that. So I would call NCAA directly and give them, any information that you are okay and comfortable with giving them, so that they can look at that case by case. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and head off of here. We have about a minute left on this Zoom meeting. So if there's any last questions, I'll give it about 20 seconds and then I'm going to head off. If you guys have any further questions past this, or like I said, if you need to see the PowerPoint on our website, please go to that. All of the links are on there. NCAA Eligibility Center, if you just Google that, they have an amazing website and it answers a lot of questions. From what I know, their staff is really easy to contact. So you can also do that. And then always feel free to contact your counselor. Our caseloads are on the counseling home of our school website. So if you have any further questions, please feel free to email your counselor, schedule an appointment, whatever will answer your question, and we can guide you from there. All right. Thank you guys for joining. And again, this will be posted on the website for you guys. Thank you.